there is a thing called, or a profession called, a paleoscatologist.
Oh,
Someone who
I miss my
studies
calling.
ancient poo.
No, imagine being able to go to
Yeah.
parties and someone says, "What do you do for a living?" Well,
Before my website got
oh
hacked, that was one of
shit.
my that was one of my most famous blogs that I wrote, was about the Jorvik coprolite, and quoting the paleoscatologist who had all the interesting information about it. Oh
I
yeah.
want to know how that career path came about. How did you get from being at primary school to being a paleoscatologist? That feels like a good story in there.
Well, that's like, when you go to med school and you become a proctologist, right? You're like, how did did you guys like draw straws?
Yeah, but don't you ever feel that about the fact that we were looking at the Vikings and always it's like how did that happen? I didn't really see that coming, and then suddenly it's yeah. I mean they're really cool. Don't get me wrong, but if you'd asked me age 5 what I was going to be doing, I wouldn't have said I'd be sitting in a potting shed talking about Viking poo.
Or the possibility of doing that for a living.
Yes, exactly.
Well, so when I went to Jorvik, that was like the number, because it's, I had all the info in my head because I'd just written that blog, and my
Yeah,
dad was with me, and I love at the end of their little ride that you
yeah,
go on,
yeah.
because it's like Disneyland, but with Sean Bean, by the way, doing the narration, which is beautiful.
Wait, it
Uh,
wasn't Sean Bean when I went. I wish it had
I
been
well,
Sean Bean.
it was when I went, so I don't
Oh,
know. I was like, that's
nice.
Sean Bean. Ooh, Ned Stark is giving me a lecture on Vikings. I'm enjoying this. And then at the end, they've got the guy, like the animatronic guy in the little outhouse, like. And so then we get out and we start going through all the different things, and then I spotted across the room. I mean, and in French we have a good word for it, un colombin. And and I just went full nerd mode, forgot where I was. I said, there it is. And I start walking up going, it's the most valuable piece in the entire exhibit. It's insured for the same amount as the crown jewels, right? For £2.5 million. And I just start going through all the interesting things about it. And people gathered around because they heard me saying this, and they thought, whoa, what is this thing that he's going to go look at? And they gather around, and there's a tall Oslo looking, I call it Oslo from the what's the Hyacinth, the Keeping Up Appearances show,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
her brother-in-law Oslo with the wife beater. He has a trucker
Yes.
hat and a wife beater,